So here we are, back again, the Rockets versus the Clippers at the Staples Center, the site of the great secret passageway incident of 2018. You remember this, of course, when Trevor Ariza, Gerald Green, Chris Paul, and James Harden stormed down one of the arena's back hallways to burst into the Clippers' locker room and do lots of yelling and cursing at Austin Rivers and Blake Griffin. The truth is, the passageway wasn't even that secret, and the NBA later ruled that CP3 and Harden weren't actually aggressors. But boy, did it stir up a lot of stuff. And why wouldn't it? Just take a look at what happened earlier that night out on the court in front of everyone. Chris and Blake jawing at each other, Blake bumping Houston coach Mike D'Antoni as he ran down the floor, Austin trash-talking from the bench, Ariza ripping Blake's tights.
When do these two teams play again? Because I want to be there. This is going to be must-see TV.
Griffin has since moved on to Detroit, but to say these teams still don't like each other is an understatement, which is ironic considering 4 of the Clippers played for the Rockets just last season. But this goes back longer and deeper than them. It goes back to 2015, when the Clippers were up 3-1 on Houston in the playoffs, and somehow coughed up what would be the best shot they'd ever have to get to a Western Conference Finals. It goes back to the pain on Chris Paul's face, not just in that series, but in postseason after postseason, as he started to realize it just was never going to happen with this group. This past summer, CP3 released a documentary showing him with some confidants, including Jay-Z, talking about how frustrated he was with the Clippers franchise.
Basketball, boy. Like, the whole thing with our team, like, a lot of people see the wins and losses and all that stuff like that, but it's the culture of our team. And I told CJ, I was like, man, tell them, if you ain't trying to contend with the Warriors, then what are we doing? Like, if you're not trying to contend with them, then what are you doing?
Now, Chris could have just opted out of his contract with LA, but instead, he helped engineer a trade to the Rockets, which allowed Houston to acquire him without clearing cap space and helped the Clippers walk away with some assets. In Houston, he's not just playing to prove the Rockets right for betting on him. He's playing to prove the Clippers wrong for blaming him. If indeed Houston makes it past the second round this postseason, it will be an argument that it was the Clippers franchise, not CP3, that was the problem. If he helps Harden win MVP, it will be an argument that he's a good teammate, not the overbearing force he was portrayed as in his pairing with Blake. So, here we are again, these two teams, back at this arena, to take each other's measure, to prove each other's points. Maybe they'd better put some extra security in the hallway, just to be safe.
Obviously, things are a little different tonight. Are you expecting any fireworks?
Not other than playing basketball, because Blake isn't there no more, and he seemed to be the center of all of that. Austin Rivers and Trevor Ariza allegedly had a phone conversation to squash whatever they had. And these things normally transpire when you have multiple players that have played for both teams and or when you face one another in the playoffs in the past, which has happened. And lastly, when your best player, Chris Paul, leaves your team.
That hurts.
To go join that squad in the offseason, there's going to be some bad blood, but I don't think it's going to be physical.
No, I just think it's going to all just boil down just these guys going to be competing at a high level. I mean, you're talking about the implications that are on the line. One team is fighting for the 8th seed, and then one team is fighting for the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. So
I mean,
it's going to come down to basketball.
I think it loses some of its mojo because Blake Griffin is not there. I mean, obviously you have Austin Rivers. But, you know, it's different when you got the superstars, you know, going at it. You know, there's been rumors of beef between CP and Blake in the past. Now they separate and you see the arguments on the court. I don't think Austin really carries that type of weight with these guys. So they're just going to go on and play.
We should have them cameras on Austin tonight, though, because although I don't think it's going to be anything crazy, they're going to come at him for sure.
Maybe
without a doubt.
Some chirping.
Oh, it's going to be
some
some
good
chirping.
old-fashioned
Be a little
trash talking.
I just think the Rockets are playing at a high level. It's going to be a good win for them tonight.
And there's the prediction.
Says the former Clipper.
Game over. We're done. We're moving on to the second game. Trash talking is something that's been around forever. One of my favorites. On ESPN.com, Tim McMahon wrote on the unwritten rules of modern-day trash talk, including not getting personal or talking when you're on the bench. Austin Rivers. Paul, you tend to be pretty good at this whole talking trash thing. What was your primary tactic?
You know, I always tried to talk about the players' weaknesses. Like, you know, I couldn't really talk too much to Tracy. He had everything in the package. When a guy couldn't shoot, I would lay off of him.
Look at that.
Tell him to shoot. Right here, I'm telling
This
Al,
is
like,
dirty.
look here, man. Look here. You cannot guard me.
This is one of the
You might
best
as well
right
go
here, though.
sit down and take this, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I got your back,
You
cheddar
know, but it
cheese.
was probably a little more. It was probably a little more censored then. You know, I can't really say what I said then.
Sure.
But you know, that was the trash talk era. You know, the Kevin Garnett's, myself, you know, guys like Gary Payton. You know, just that era of the late '90s and '80s and the early
What's
2000s.
off limits?
It just
Like, what-
ended now.
No,
What are the rules? Like
you gotta
no
keep
moms?
it basketball.
No personal.
You can't
It's
talk about
Okay.
nobody mom, nobody
Like I remember
kids,
telling Dwight
significant
Howard,
other.
I remember
Can't do
telling
that.
Dwight Howard it looked like he had some Ronald McDonald shoes on. And he did. He had a pair of yellow and red clown shoes on at the free throw line, and
got it.
everybody started laughing.
I got into it with a guy on the court one time, and I told him, I pointed at the bench. I say, look at your bench. Look at your teammates. And he was like, what you talking about? I say, they're wearing T-Max on their feet.
Oh, man, you got them all
I
mixed
say,
up.
I say your teammate got T-Max on, man.
Oh, man.
That kind of hurts.
I'm rolling with the fellas. As long as you keep it basketball,
Yeah,
you
you
talk
keep it
about somebody's
basketball.
weaknesses.
Can I
But
ask a
also-
stupid question, though?
Of course.
If the whole point of trash talking is to get under one's skin, why do we have these arbitrary rules about no moms, no significant others? Why not just have everything be on the table?
Well, that sounds good in theory, but you really don't go there because there is a level of respect you have for your peers that play on this level.
just an
But at
unwritten
the
rule,
same
Beats.
time,
It's a
you just
fraternity
talk
and an
about
unwritten
players'
rule.
weaknesses. And here's when you do it, when their teammates can hear it. So a guy that can't shoot, you leave him open like Paul said and be like, he with us.
Right.
No, hey, Jay.
Let me tell you the best
Let
thing
me tell you what
for
we
a
used to say
reason.
about that, Jay. When somebody couldn't shoot and he shoots the ball, start the break, man. Start the break.
Best time, let me tell you, the best time to talk trash is when you're at the free throw line. Everybody's quiet. And
Yeah.
you say something, the microphone's under the TV. That's a good time. That's a good time to talk.
Are there any great guys doing it right now? I mean,
It's
that
kind of
we
a
know?
lost art. I mean, it's really a lost art.
Everybody
You
are
know, you really
buddies
don't-
these days. AAU
Oh,
basketball.
you know what?
Beats.
I forgot. There's Twitter wars. There's
Joel
Instagram,
Embiid
there's
is good at it.
Instagram wars.
Embiid
You know,
is
it's-
Embiid is great.
good,
You
yeah.
don't really
Yeah.
get the up close and personal effect of the trash talk these days. It's all done after the
I
game or
would've been
before
good
the
at
game.
Now players are yelling at the officials.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
not
it's
right.
just not the same. You don't get that
That'll test
That
to
in
see
the
if
game.
you're
You
a
don't
real
get that.
hooper. Because somebody talking trash to you and they getting buckets, let's see if you could come back at them.
you know, everybody's friends. It's
I
just
know,
what
we
it
hate
is.
friends, don't we, Paul?
Have it in
Ugh.
your chest, baby. Have it in your chest.